Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can, Frank Palillo.
Okay.
I think it's great that they're trying to.
All right, we are all set. It looks like Yoda, can you please confirm for the record that we have a quorum of 9?
We do.
Perfect. All right, good evening, everyone. This is the State Licenses and Permits Committee of Community Board 5. I'm Seth Borden, your committee chair, and before we get started, we'll quickly go around the room so committee members can introduce themselves. So first name, last names, sufficient. Yoda?
Yoden Thondon, Vice Chair.
And yeah, keep going around the circle here.
Milan Mijatovic.
Perfect.
Lev Kimyagarov.
Gail Kelly.
Some relevant gear.
Evan Thompson.
Andrea Eng.
We'll go online to Todd first.
Muted.
Muted.
Muted, but I think so we have Todd Shapiro online.
Sorry,
And then-
guys. Todd Shapiro, longtime SLAP member.
Perfect. And then last, Melissa.
Melissa Stewart.
All right, perfect. Thank you, everyone. So we have 3 items on our agenda tonight. First is new business, so that people don't have to wait till the end of the meeting to raise things. Second, we'll have 48 West 21st Street doing business as Taj. And then third will be an internal item, reviewing a new internal process for the committee. So with that, we'll get started. First, we have new business. So is there anyone attending, including members of the public, that has any business for the committee other than the items on the agenda? Please raise your hand online or in person and we will call any of you. All right, seeing none, new business is closed. We'll move on to the second item, which is 48 West 21st Street, doing business as Taj. So this is an application for a method of operation change by Taj. Before we get into this, I want to refresh everyone both on the committee and among members of the public about how the process will go. We'll start by having the applicants provide a brief summary of their application, summarizing the changes they're requesting to their method of operation. Then we'll briefly state the key issues to discuss. After that, we'll have a Q&A session when members of the committee can ask questions. Then I'll open the floor to the public who can provide their comments on the application. After that, I'll put the committee into business session, during which only the committee will discuss the topic and no further comment from the applicant is appropriate unless requested by me, the chair. And then finally, during business session, the committee will discuss the topic. There will be a motion and the committee will take a vote. The vote of this committee will be our recommendation to the full board of CB5, which will next meet on Thursday, February 12th. The vote of the full board will then be CB5's final position on the topic. So with that, I will first hand it over to the applicant, and Phil, Frank, you can feel free to take it away. Essentially, what we're curious about is what key changes you are requesting and also essentially what you want the method of operation to be after the change.
Well, we've been there 22 years in business. We're one of a few locations in the city that is filed both as a restaurant, but we're also filed as a ballroom. This was done back, I believe, in the early 91, 92 prior to our ownership. I believe Bloom Ballroom was the previous owner. So, with the ballroom operation, which is basically events, we do a lot of them. We do use DJs for mitzvahs and birthdays. We have had, reasonable amount of wedding success there, sweet 16s and that kind of stuff. Back in 2004, I can hardly remember that back that far, but when we were transferring the license from Bloom Ballroom, we inherited the use that was then without any issue. And we've been operating similar. We've changed the decor, I'm going to say maybe a half dozen times over 22 years, but we've been basically operating as a lounge, restaurant, event space for all this period of time. But we just wanted to clarify our method of use. It's becoming more prevalent, I guess, in recent years. Back when we were on this block, it was a commercial area. The entire 19, 20, 21, 22 was all commercial. Now it's becoming more residential. I myself started a restaurant block group on 19, 20, and 21st, just so we could liaison with the residents as time progressed in the last, I'm going to say 12 years. I worked with Josh Hughes a lot. We host a lot of meetings, but again, we just want to clarify that we're going to continue with the same use, but we just want to make sure that we're not going to have issue with our events. Sometimes we do after work stuff, birthday parties, but the business has changed. Let's be real. So we're going to try and express and increase our events revenue, because a la carte business is tough now. We're competing with the boroughs, rents are high. I don't think we have the same traffic as previously was in in prior years. So we have to reinvent ourselves. We have to get more aggressive, and we just want to clarify that if we're going after this so-called business, party business, events business, we want to make sure that we're operating correctly and we get approval for that.
Perfect. Thank you, Phil. And Frank, do you have anything further to add before we turn it back to questions?
No, it's just the business model is changing, and as the business model changes, we need to update our license.
Perfect.
Phil has laid it out fairly clearly.
All right. Perfect. So with that, I will turn it over to the committee. Does anybody on the committee have any questions? Let's start with those. Yeah.
Can we just do a really quick before and after, what is changing from, I guess, when did we approve this last, 2011, right? 2011.
Last affidavit, yeah.
So like what is changed? What is the specific change they're asking for?
That would be great. Yeah, if you could summarize the key changes since our 2011 affidavit, that'd be great.
We're adding DJs, live music and dancing, and increasing our hours to half an hour from 3:30 to 4.
And that's that's on the weekend, right? And the weekdays, it's like 2:30 to 4.
Phil?
During the weekdays, I believe it was 2:30. Yeah. Listen, if the hours become a major issue, that's not really what our concern is here, to be quite honest. It's just the usage. We want to be able to be, to sell this venue for the correct way we want to operate, and we just want to make it transparent. We've been there a long time. I think 21st Street has been, it's pretty successful for a lot of the operators there, but I share the communication with the community, and obviously now there's a block association, so we're very well aware of we have to liaison and have a coexistence or a marriage. I'm also very involved in the 13th precinct, so we have regular meetings there to make sure that we all cohesively are on the same page. But it's I want to make sure that my method of use is what I tend it to be. I'm going to go more aggressively after events. I think my a la carte business is starting to suffer the last 3 or 4 years, and I have a long lease left there. I've been successful 22 years. I want to continue to be successful, but I do, and I always have been transparent in how I operate. That way, it lends itself to my success, and I have had a great relationship with any residents in the past in this location or the other 10 I've had over the years in Manhattan. I've been in Manhattan for almost 30 years, you know.
Perfect, thank you. Yes,
So the primary change, just to make sure I understand, is
Yeah.
to add live music and a DJ.
Like DJ and dancing, yeah, because that's what I'll be selling. You know, if I host your party tomorrow for birthday, I want to give you the allowance of enjoying yourself. It's an entertainment, basically.
And so right now you do not have live music or dancing?
I provide that when I operate as a ballroom. If I have a mitzvah or a wedding or a birthday party, within that operation, there from time to time is a DJ. Sometimes there's not, but I wanted to make it transparent, so I have the allowance to do it on a regular basis if need be. But I do have DJs from time to time. Yes, I've had
Thank
for
you.
over 22 years. You know, or 22 years. We've had DJs operate there. Just maybe I'm going to say 4 years ago, 3 years ago, we re-soundproofed the entire space because there was a residential new building adjacent to us. So we put some major soundproofing in there, which wasn't necessary back in the day when all these buildings were commercial. But we're well aware of the coexistence of residents adjacent to us, so we made that investment.
okay, so just to summarize back, so one of the key changes is whether allowing DJs and live music is acceptable to the community. That's one of the changes. And then I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Frank and Phil, but I think the other change is allowing earlier open hours on weekends. I think it's pushing it essentially up to 11 a.m. instead of 4 p.m. open time.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're trying to, invite business. I mean, nighttime operations throughout the city have ceased or are not as lucrative or not as consistent, but yet people like, for instance, I would like to do brunch on Saturday and Sunday. You know, brunches are popular. I think a lot of people, including myself, are getting a little older. They don't want to go out at nighttime. They'd rather go out in the daytime. So we want to be able to provide that service. Mitzvahs, to be honest, are very prone to 11, 12 o'clock times. They're younger children, families. They don't want to be, out too late. But again, it just allows us to compete is what we're trying to do here, you know.
All right. Thank you. And the final change, I just wanted to clarify something as well. My understanding of the situation with the hours is that the current operating license with the SLA is the 2:30 a.m. close time weeknights and 3:30 a.m. on weekends. But we also agreed an affidavit with your team in 2011, so quite a while now, where it did allow for 4 a.m. close time every night. So my understanding is that we already have an agreement for that 4 a.m. close time.
Yeah, just it was on our method of our operation. We just brought it up to be transparent.
Gotcha.
Well, no, wait. You may have that, Josh. I'm not disputing it, but we never actually forwarded that to the authority, Phil.
We didn't. Okay.
So this is that opportunity to fix everything at this time.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so that is also part of the requested changes. Just want to make sure. Okay, gotcha. So those three are essentially it.
Yeah.
Great. Gail.
Is your intention that the live music and DJs would be able to run or would be running the entirety that you're open? So if you extend to start at 11 a.m., are you planning on having live music starting that early? Will it go till close at 4 a.m.? What's that approach?
I mean, again, it would depend. Like, for instance, if I was to host your birthday party and you requested a DJ for that 4 or 5 hour span, I would. Traditionally, or with history, we would close down for 2 or 3 hours after an event, reset, redo the food menus, yada yada, and open again. Would there be a second DJ sometimes for an event? Yes, but will it go on all year long? I mean, it depends on the events, really, right? Certain events don't require music; just they want background music because it's more of a meet and greet. We host a lot of corporate parties. They don't traditionally need DJs. It's just a meet and greet. It's a food and beverage component. It's more of a mix and mingle mixer for corporate build and that kind of stuff. So would we use DJs a lot? Yes. Is it all the time? I don't define that. The customer kind of defines that,
Gotcha. Any other questions from the committee?
Thomas.
Todd, please go ahead.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, well, first of all, I salute you for being a longstanding member of the business community and running your establishment successfully. And I'm totally understanding of the fact that you have to bend with the times.
Yes.
But I have a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
First of all, as you mentioned, the nature of the mixed residential quality of the neighborhood has changed in your many years running your establishment. And we've often had issues in your vicinity about noise and with the concentration of establishments. What is your perception as a longtime operator of the nature of possible saturation or of a tipping point with a large number of places? Obviously, the change in your method of operation, is it something, in your opinion, that the neighborhood can absorb given, the change in its nature over time? So that's the first thing. The second thing, is this change something that is existential to your method of operation, such that if you don't get it, you just can't compete anymore? I mean, you see, from what I'm hearing, it seems like it may very well be the case. And I guess the other question I have, which I'm sure will come up in discussion, is I thought I heard is we would never give out late hours of operation, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, to any new applicants. But we all understand that those that have been grandfathered in, have those long hours. Would you be amenable to getting our blessing to reduce substantially the late hours, and would it still work? Would it still make feasible your updated or revised method of operation?
Okay, so let's start with question or point number one. Listen, that area, 19th Street, 20, 21, 22, I'm going to say there's been a strong nightlife, bar, restaurant, even you want to use the word club, presence there for about 4 decades. So it's been a concentration of nightlife, daytime stuff that I do, events. There's a place next door, Slate, 17,000 square feet. They host a massive amount of events. So there's a history there. Along with the 13th precinct, I'm going to say about 8 years ago, maybe, we got in touch with the DOT because it became apparent that the taxi and the hooting and the noise and at nighttime between 2 and 3 o'clock, 3:34, became an issue. So we got the DOT to commission 21st Street, between 21st Street, sorry, and 22nd Street, a taxi stand. That, I think, alleviated a lot of the issue where we negotiated the 13th precinct closing down the block at the weekends for vehicular traffic, so people couldn't park on the block. There wasn't any necessarily hanging out at nighttime. All the venues on our block were directing their patrons to leave and goes towards Fifth Avenue, where there would be a taxi stand, and it alleviated a lot of the issue with closing hours and time spent on the street, noise in general. I would say if there's a concentration of people, it's predominantly summertime. Winter, nobody wants to stand out in the cold. So when people leave, there's mainly 4 venues on this block and have been for all of us have been there over 20 years, really. The same locations. There was a couple of additional locations there back 10 years ago that went out of business, so they're gone. They were more or less hardcore clubs, so they went out of business. But I think we've worked as much as we can. Like, for instance, my venue, Slate, we employ our host or security till 5 a.m. to make sure that people, when they do leave, they leave the block, and we had food cart issues and we got that taken care of. So they are no longer on the block either. And we also, we, as best as we can, when we do nightlife stuff for the weekends, we do try and close early as far as last calls. So you're not putting, I have a couple of hundred people. I'm not putting a couple of hundred people on the street at 3:30 in the morning. We do it in increments. So when it is 4 o'clock, the block is empty. That's one. The point about competing. So yes, I need to compete. I mean, reducing my hours, and I will say this, COVID was a changer and it changed all the hours. There was an opportunity there possibly to citywide to make it at 2 o'clock for everybody. I think that's something that could have been considered. It wasn't, but if I was to close early, it puts me at a deficit to other locations, and because I have a long history there, it's part of what my service has been. It's part of my hours. Clearly, during the week, I close early. And then the method of use, yeah, I need that method of use. I mean, I do use DJs for parties anyway, but I wanted more transparency because there's more block associations, there's more people involved, there's more people that want transparency, and we want to make sure that we have a cohesive relationship with our block association, with our residents, and we don't necessarily want to, operate outside of what the allowance is. And that does go back to your point. I mean, there are 22 years for a reason. I'm very involved. My partner is very involved. Our staff actually have been there since the inception of the business, a lot of them. So I want to continue to compete. And business, yes, business is tough now. It's no longer, there's no bridge and tunnel, there is no frequency of events. You have to be, you have to hustle. So we want to make sure that we can stay there for another 10 years and compete against the downside of this business. It's taken, the last couple of years has been really rough,
Thank you, Phil. Next up, we'll go to Melissa.
Thanks. Hi. Apologize if I missed this. Can you just share roughly how frequently you're renting out the space for these parties or these events? Like, is this a once a week sort of occurrence or once a month?
Oh, yes, at least once a week, twice a week. Like I'll do, I probably will perform a mitzvah at least every once a weekend. It's a big business too, and we're quite successful with our return business there. Birthday parties, yeah, once a week. Corporate stuff, we usually throw one or two events during the week. A la carte business is tough during the week, so there is a lot of nights like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I close, to be honest. I don't even open.
The
Because
reason to do this is that we anticipate doing it more often, correct?
excuse me?
The reason to do this is because we're anticipating to hope to be able to do it more often.
Exactly. We're trying to change this method of use so we can attract more business during the week because, a la carte business is not as frequent. So we're trying to put our best foot forward to make us as successful as our history in the past, or continue to be successful, but also to be able to compete and bring this business.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions from the committee before we turn it to the public?
Questions or comments?
That's a good question. Let's do questions first. We'll save comments for the business session. That's okay.
Yeah, okay.
Perfect. Yeah, Catherine.
Thank you. Did we already hear, is there been feedback from community already?
I'll summarize that right before the business session.
Okay.
There has been though. Yeah, thank you.
Thank
All right, with that, I will go ahead and open it up to the committee. So is there anyone from the public who wishes to take a question or make a comment? If so, please click the raise hand button now. And as you raise your hands, I have two asks of everyone. First, we ask that you be thoughtful about your comment and try to avoid repeating what others have said where possible. It's helpful to us if you simply say, I agree with the comments that another person made. That way we understand that you agree, but don't need to restate what's been said. And then second, we'll limit the time for each comment to 2 minutes. And this is just to be sure that everyone gets a chance to speak and that we can still discuss as a committee afterwards. So with that, just one moment, I'm going to pull up a timer so that everybody can see how much time you have left to speak. Okay, and with that, we'll start with Leila. Leila, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great, fantastic. Thank you so much. My name is Leila Logiziko. I am a resident of 20th Street and a member of the block association that covers the block where Taj is located. And I would like to testify to the fact that the establishment has been, over the years, a challenge for the neighborhood, due also to the oversaturation in the district. As you discussed tonight, the operator has been operating outside of the bounds of their method of operation as filed with the SLA, with the use of a DJ and at times live music. The hours of operation for especially closing time at 4 a.m. is something that this board approved in 2011 and was never filed with the SLA. So I am not going to ask you to change that because you approved it in 2011. But what I would ask Committee Board 5 to do is actually to reject the application for DJ or live music, as well as an early start. Boozy brunch has really been an issue in the district. It is very problematic with people highly inebriated on weekends during daytime, and the use of a DJ and live music has been really, really detrimental to our quality of life. Once again, we are willing to consider a 4 a.m. closure, even though this would be a change to the method of operation filed with the SLA, just because it was approved by CB5 in 2011. But we're really, really urging this board to reject the method of operation for the use of a DJ, live music, or early start for accommodating of what is known as Boozy brunch. I thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you very much, Leila. All right, next up we'll have Jason Nakin. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Jason.
Hello, hi, I'm Jason Nagan. I'm the co-chair of the Block Association for 20th and 21st Street. And we formed this block association a few years ago. And a major reason for it are several of the blocks on 20th and 21st Street, and in particular, Taj. I live directly next to Taj, and they operate a hip hop nightclub, hardcore nightclub. I live right next door, and I see very occasionally there are corporate parties or bar mitzvahs or other parties, but that is not like this past Saturday. They had a boozy brunch, started at like 2 o'clock, and people come in, very loud hip hop music, banging bass, people smoking pot on the street, hanging out, pulling up in their cars, blasting bass and very loud music on the street. This is early. So if you extend the hours to 11 a.m. to allow these boozy brunches to happen, people are pushing strollers down the street. There's families on 21st Street, and you have this hip hop nightclub that's attracting, it's no wonder that business is not doing good. It's because as Phil said, the location of these nightclubs in this block doesn't really make sense. You have scantily clad women who are smoking pot and yelling and yapping really loud and drunk and are on the street. Yes, Phil has been communicative, and we've all tried to do our best as residents and nightclubs coexisting on the same block, but it's been extremely challenging and disheartening because we've made very little progress. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jason. All right, next up we'll go to Louise. Louise, please go ahead and unmute yourself.
Thank you. Wow,
Louise, we're hearing a slight echo on your end. If you have headphones, it might be helpful to attach them.
I don't have any
Someone in the room have their laptop unmuted.
Do you think I can find it twice?
One
Mute
second.
us for a second while she
maybe.
talks. Yeah.
Yeah, good call. Louise, try to go ahead.
Any better?
Louise, if you could try to, if you do have any headphones or anything like that, we'll come back to you. If you
Okay.
could test out your audio, thank you so much.
Maybe dial back in.
Yeah, I could call you. It might help to dial back in. Okay, and next up we'll go to Deborah.
Hi, this is Debbie Larison. I live at 4 West 21st Street. I would like to tell you that while the establishment of Taj has explained this as an elegant operation, it is by far anything but an elegant operation. There are the crowd control at when it lets out at 4 o'clock in the morning. You cannot be here on a Saturday night that you are not awakened. All of our parking garages on the street have closed for overnight. At 4 West, you can't park overnight anymore. Across the street at 7 West, they actually closed the parking garage because there were so many problems with the people coming out of the clubs being inebriated. So I would say to you that the hours are troubling to the community. This is a residential area. It is impossible to have these people down at the end of the street, and to ask them to continue with live music and a DJ is something that the community is just not prepared to handle. It is out of control. I would also tell you that the neighborhood we just cannot absorb this. There are small children living in these buildings. There are young families, and this is just a quality of life issue. This weekend, we did not have a police car closing the end of 21st Street. They promised us that we would have that, but there has been so many cutbacks in the quality of life force from the police. They just don't have the manpower or the people power to put these people out at the end of the street to help protect the community. So thank you for allowing me to speak to this, but I'm just hoping that you really consider denying this application. This is just not fair to the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Okay, next up, let's go to Heidi. Heidi, please go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello, my name is Heidi Cohen. I live on 20th Street. We hear the noise from Taj through the backyard. So it interrupts our sleep. It confirms what everybody else has said to this point. The point I would like to bring up is, while the gentleman from Taj made it sound like he was he liked to work with the community, it's also, I strongly disagree with that. I find that there are lines getting into Taj that he is asking for, having it opening every day of the week until 4 a.m. He wants to be able, he's actually asking for the ability to choose whatever type of business model is going to make him the most money without regard for anybody on any of the blocks, whether it's 21st Street, whether it's 20th Street, whether it's 2nd Street or 19th Street. This is, he may have gotten a right to do this in 2022, but this is unfair to the people who have been living here, who actually support the community and pay with their hard-earned taxes, and they deserve, as Deborah said, a quality of life. This is unfair. He wants to be able to have boozy brunch and DJs. That is the same as having a club. He should choose what kind of business he wants, bring that to the community board, then bring it to the liquor commission, and then we should decide and start this meeting from the start all over again. This is unfair. This does not provide a decent quality of life for the people who have lived here for decades, who have had to put up with his unreliable, drunk, whatever patrons, including other things.
Thank you very much. All right, next up we'll go to Larry.
Hi.
Larry.
Good evening.
Yes,
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to the committee. I am also a long-term resident of this community. And when I moved here originally, I understood that the nature, a mixed commercial, mixed residential use neighborhood means that you would have commercial noise, and that meant 9 to 5 commercial noise. It became a scene of nightclubs, and a nightclub is a lot different than any other ordinary commercial activity. And at some point, you have to say, where does the rights of a commercial activity of a nightclub to make more profit? Because I hear what previous board member said about it not seeming to be existential, and I agree with that. When does that entity have the right to, where its rights to earn a little bit more profit, overcome the rights of residents to enjoy the peace and quiet of their homes in the evening? It's already, as many other people on the 20th and 21st Street Board spoke about, as I am one of those people. In fact, I live right behind Taj. So we already hear their noise. We already hear the music when there's live DJ. Continuing this raises the question, what is this committee for except to find some kind of balance between the rights of these operations, the nightclubs, and the residents? So where are we now? And thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Larry. Next up, we'll have Adam. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening, everyone. First, I would like to just reiterate and agree with I'm Adam Nagan. I live at 46 West 21st Street. I'm the neighbor to this nightclub. I agree with all the previous comments from the community. This proposed change of operation is something of a nightmare for my family. Honestly, it's something I'm dreading. And when I saw the application, my stomach absolutely dropped to the floor. I live on the second floor of 46 West 21st Street. I can actually hear the nightclub through, we share a party wall. Taj and Phil did make some changes, but that was after an entire lawsuit. I mean, they have not been cooperative with us. Even still, with those changes, yes, it improved things to some extent. There's still a tremendous amount of bass coming through that wall. You probably hear it in the background. I have a 10-month-old baby. She's being woken up at night by this operation. It's kind of a nightmare if you think about it. They're going to close at 4 a.m. and then they're proposing to reopen again 6.5 hours later. When do we get a break? When does my baby get a break from the nightclub next door and the bass coming through our wall? I mean, it's a total nightmare. I have to protect my family, and unfortunately, I'm not able to, based on the way that this nightclub operates. They've been a major problem for all of the neighbors here. We are absolutely united. They should be reducing their hours. There's no way that they need to be operating 17 out of 24 hours every single day. There's no way that that's the balance between what they need for their operation and for the neighborhood. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Adam. Next, we'll go to Andrew. Please go ahead and unmute yourself, Andrew.
Hi, I'm Andy Shapiro. I live on 21st Street, and I'm also a member of the community board. When I saw the application, I was absolutely shocked. I participated in many meetings over the past 2 or 3 years, and we get a lot of statements from the operators about how they want to work with the community. We want to have a great relationship with the community. We'll do what we have to do to enhance your quality of life. But when you ask to expand the hours the way they want to expand the hours and add a live DJ and live music and whatnot, it feels exactly the opposite, that they want to they're not trying to sort of make things easier for residents. They're trying to ramp things up. And it's just, enough is enough. And it just makes me think of a statement John Mitchell, when he was Attorney General for Richard Nixon, once said, "You're much better served paying attention to what we do than what we say." And I think here it's totally apropos. You can say all you want, oh, nothing's really going to change. We just want to formalize things. Things are going to change a lot. And I think the CB5 should just, should reject this outright. And the other thing I would ask the members of CB5, I don't know if any of you live in the neighborhood, but, the consequences of your action might not affect you directly, might not keep you up at night, but it's going to keep us up at night and affect our quality of life. So I ask you that you take that into consideration, even though it might not affect you directly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Next is Luis. Please go ahead and unmute yourself.
I hope this is a little better now, yes?
That's perfect. Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. I want to concur with all the preceding speakers that I urge CB5 to reject this proposal outright. We have to acknowledge in 2011, 15 years ago, the approval here is just for a restaurant, a bar, and a lounge. That was the limitation that Taj agreed to. So we need to hold them to their agreement. Maybe they got extended hours till 4 a.m., but it never made any mention of earlier openings, live music, or a DJ. And again, I live on West 20th Street, a whole block away, and through the back, I can hear the music too. Now, if you say, oh, you're a late night person, it's like I'm a late night person because I've been woken up by the music like the poor man's baby. So the other thing I'll just bring is I'm disabled. One of the things that happens with all of the clubs with closing 21st Street is that there's overflow on 20th Street. 20th Street is a flow through street, and all of the people, the party continues onto our street. So again, not being able to walk cleanly and clearly and safely on a sidewalk because you're dodging drunken people who are, not really, they're in their car, they're out of their cars, they're booming their boom boxes. We can't say that's directly related to Taj, but it's related to the idea of an extended boozy brunch, bottomless brunch, topless, bottomless, whatever it is, of drunk people taking over the sidewalks and the streets on both of our blocks. So again, I think they're asking us to approve something they've already been in non-compliance for over 15 years. And I say, no, redo this application, become in compliance. It's not about transparency. I think that word's wrong. I think they're asking CB5 to validate their non-compliance, and I don't think you should. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Luis. Okay, I think we have no further comments. So I will bring it back to committee. And actually, before we go to business session, I actually just want to take comments from the committee based on all we've heard. Just getting your thoughts on the three key issues that we have: the hours, the DJ and music, and actually those are the only two. The hours are both pushing it later and asking for earlier open times, and then the music and DJ. So raise your hand if you have a comment. Yeah, go ahead.
Why are we not in business session?
I just want to take comments before business session. We'll just do like open discussion. I just want to get comments on opinions on that.
Don't we do that in business session?
We will continue the discussion in business session. Right now, I just want I want to solicit opinions at a high level.
Sure, I'm happy to.
Go ahead.
Look, I think that we do a few things on the community board here, and there's some things that we do that are small things, and there's some things that we do are big things. I think this is a case where this is a big deal. This is something that this is the reason why we have the community board, and I think we need to take a very decisive action here and push back, because this is not right. And what may be allowed 20 years ago, it's a different place. I'm very pro-business and I want to see businesses thrive, but it strikes me that this business is not doing what it said it was going to do. And I feel that the community I think that there's quite a number of folks who have gathered to push back against this. And so I feel it's our duty here to do something that's important here. So I want to push back against this. I would be in favor of reducing hours. I would be in favor of making sure that it's just a lounge and a restaurant and a bar. And I would be in favor of being very, very, very focused here.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments? Just high level opinions before we dive into a business session? Yeah.
So in an effort to strike the balance between the residential concerns with late hours and really not a lot of control of the public on the street, which is always a challenge. I also feel that we should push back on the hours, that the applicant doesn't get to use late hours as its sole sort of marketing approach, and that if there is live music and DJ, maybe it's restricted to special events, a certain number of special events in a, you know, a certain number of special events in a year that also, but I don't think that this, from what we are hearing now, I couldn't possibly see us in a position to go into a 4 a.m. agreement at a time in which there are only grandfathered in 4 a.m. agreements. So this is not an opportunity for this applicant to go forward later into the night without control. And given the community concern, I just think that they have to hear that the timing, the 4 a.m. is not acceptable.
Thank you very much. And I did want to clarify for the committee as well, that the establishment is sort of grandfathered into at least the 2:30 a.m. during the week and 3:30 a.m. on weekends hours, but basically that is what they currently have with the SLA.
Why do we need to prove that? Or
We can recommend restrictions, but we rarely
I would
go.
recommend restrictions that go back to less than hours. How can you stay for that?
Let's hold until
Sure.
business session for open discussion, but let's go for, I'll take like 2 more opinions and then we'll go to business session. Todd first.
Everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so this is a long running story with regard to this area of our district. We've had applications in this area that confront these issues over and over and over again. Nothing against this particular applicant. I'm sure they're doing their best to run their business. The ground has changed under them over a very long period of time. Our role is to try to balance the equities. My instinct on this, I'm with Catherine. I think that we shouldn't dig the hole any deeper. I'd be very reluctant to give them either earlier hours. You heard what Layla said about boozy brunches. We should do nothing that is going to make the situation worse. As far as changing the hour, agreeing to change their method of operation, and that was something that I solicited from them, as you all heard. I think the only way we should do that is where we limit it in some way, right? Limit the number of times they do it, or limit it in some way to, certain types of events, if that's even possible. But we certainly should do nothing to expand the sound and crowding issues that exist in this neighborhood. We should consider options to limit the change, if it's possible, to limit the change, to limit the changes, which I hope will come up in the next session.
Thank you, Todd. I'll take one more opinion and
It's inspected.
yes, that makes
Okay,
sense.
So let's go. I'll try to do it in less than 2 minutes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I inspected the location, and it struck me that the operators are trying to be good operators. They've been there for quite some time, and for the majority of the time, they've been good. There's not that many complaints considering how many people live in the area. The application is for what? For extension of hours till
Technically, yeah. So it's basically 2:30 is during the week right now. It's going to 4, and then 3:30 on weekends going to 4.
It's my understanding that currently they have a license till 4 a.m. right now, which is grandfathered.
They actually don't. They have the current hours on file with the SLA are 2:30 a.m. during from Sunday to Tuesday, and then Wednesday through Saturday is until 3:30 a.m.
What is it, say it again? What is it?
So Sunday through.
2:30
Yeah, it's
and
right in.
3:30 AM.
Okay,
There is a 2011 affidavit, which is a little, there was another wrinkle into it where SLAP 15 years ago wrote in 4 AM
Right, right.
closing as in the
so
affidavit.
one of the requests was that they wanted to have a live DJ. Uh, When I inspected the location, I don't think it makes a difference if it's a live DJ or if it's some kind of streaming music. If the music is gonna be loud, whether it's streaming, whether it's a live DJ, it makes absolutely no difference. The area for the dance floor was approximately, I wanna say it's maybe about 250, 300 square feet. So it's not like it's a club, like the way clubs used to be, like the Palladium, where you have all these, people, like Sound Factory used to be, or Limelight or anything like that. It's more of a lounge, and if they have a DJ in there that's playing live music, I don't think it changes what happens in the community, whether it's live music or streaming music. The issue is really the sound, and as the sound gets out of the building. The building is a commercial building. It's all commercial upstairs. There's nobody living on top of them. There's two firewalls on both sides, one on the left and on the right, and they have a basement. When you first walk into the club, they have some kind of a partition there, that they used to have some kind of designs in there. It's like a couple of boxes. So what I suggested to the operators was said, look, if you take this partition and you leave it there and pack it up with insulation, the sound should not get out from the front. I hear some residents complaining that there's sound coming out of the back. What they should really do is insulate the back of the building so the sound does not come out. They had maybe, I think it was like 16 speakers throughout the whole place. I counted them. They're not even like modern speakers. They're the old type of speakers. I was there on a Tuesday. Sometimes Tuesday nights is a good night to go out in the city. The place was empty. There was nobody there. They weren't even operating. Okay. And you have to be somewhat considerate to the fact that people need to run a business. Without any businesses, this would not be New York City. So we're all pro business, but we don't want to have some kind of a negative impact onto the community. I would be in favor of approving the live DJ as long as the place is further insulated in the front and in the back. Okay, they also have a curtain in the front that's hanging there, which also insulates the sound. So they have two forms of insulation. But if they put like Oralex foam into that fixture that they have in the front, that should take care of most of it. Give me 2 seconds. I have made some other notes.
Yeah.
And look, maybe the one thing that we did discuss was 2 things that we did discuss was the ground control. What happens? Like I think Mr. Palillo, what's the capacity in the club? How many people?
I think it's $299. Phil, is it $299?
Yes, 299.
299. So if we have 300 people coming out into the street all one shot, it's an impact. So I think that maybe we should set some kind of a release where certain sections of the club start to close early. They had a mezzanine there, but they close that maybe at 2:00. Okay, so those people start to leave, so there's less people leaving the club. And if you somehow set up security and give us some type of proposal on what the security would be as to how the people would come out, as long as it doesn't impact the community, I think that would be okay too. And so one thing was the crowd control, and the other thing was to limit the amount of the events. We spoke about maybe having an average like 3 DJ events per week. Okay, so the reality is that we're talking about 150 DJ events for the year. Let's just say that that's what they'll have. Most of them are probably going to be sometime around the holiday times. Sometimes they have 2 events per day. Sometimes they'll have one midday, and they'll have one later on. So and they may not have any, like, let's say in September. at the end of summer, so there might be a dead time from September to October, then it picks up again around New Year's, Christmas, as people are having holiday parties and booking the hole. So if we limit it to 150 events a year, and they should insulate the location, and start to have an exit strategy for the patrons, where we start closing the mezzanine at around 2:30, right? I think it's okay.
I have a question.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'll take one question and then we'll go to business.
What is the venue capacity? I just want to have an
300.
idea.
399. So I said, so, I think the mezzanine upstairs holds maybe about 40, 50 people. So if those people, let's say, leave at 5 o'clock, 2 o'clock, then you're down to this is at full capacity, 250. Some people don't even have the energy to stay out till 4 o'clock in the morning. I think it starts to naturally, empty out. And maybe that down to 100 people, and we should just have some kind of security where nobody's coming out, smoking weed outside, and going crazy and throwing bottles. But in light of what one of the calls called in, says his child is at 26, West 21st. I mean, look, it's a child. You don't want to have something that impacts their development. So you want to kind of keep the decibels low. So, but I think the insulation should be able to carry it. Not then the residents will complain, and we'll address it, and there's going to be further insulation. Maybe at a later time.
Just a
So, yeah,
certain point of order. Can we move to? new business?
Yes, let's go to business session.
So we can do this.
Yeah, so I'm putting the committee to business session. During business session, no additional comment from the applicant or the public is appropriate unless we request it. I guess we'll open up, I'll start with a quick summary, and then we can just to focus our conversation, and then we can decide how we feel on each of these. I think we should decide 3 different issues. One, actually, no, sorry, before we go into that, actually, I just want to highlight that it is somewhat problematic that it seems like the applicants have been operating outside the scope of the agreement that they have with the SLA. That is actually a very big problem with us. And we don't like to see it. It sort of makes us question whether a new agreement will be followed. So I do want to highlight that is unusual, and it's
How will they
pretty big.
operating outside the scope because people are dancing?
Yeah, dancing. They seems like they already have events.
They have
It seems
music.
Music. The hours are.
It's a club.
It is a club.
The hours are outside. Sorry, everybody. Yeah. One at a time. So, and then the hours are later than what's agreed with the SLA.
Well,
So
they're not supposed to have music
Sorry,
in
just
the
we'll
original
just
application?
the original application, they weren't supposed to have DJs or live music and things like that. So that's one thing I want to highlight, and then we'll go into the 3 issues. First, extending hours from 2:30 a.m. to 4 a.m. and 3:30 to 4. That's weekdays and weekends. It sounds like from the committee's basic sense, the opinions I've been getting is that we're maybe not comfortable changing the hours. That's one thing I'll put out there. And then the second piece is whether we allow earlier open hours on weekends. So this is moving from 4 p.m. to 11 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday. It sounds like we're also not very comfortable with this. So I'm just putting that out there. And then the third thing is whether we allow DJ and live music. It sounds like we're a little more open to that with some restrictions, potentially including soundproofing.
I don't
limitations.
agree with
Sorry, well, I'll take comments, just one sec. Potentially including limiting the use of DJ to later hours, and then potentially including types of events, right? Limitations on that. So that's those 3 issues. Let's try to keep our comments within that. I don't think there's anything else. So please raise your hand if you disagree, if you want to express an opinion on any of these. Yeah.
Okay, so we haven't polled this group, so I couldn't say that it's fair to say that it sounds like we are for or against anything. So I think that's a fair point. I don't think that the music piece of this is something that we should support. They're already in violation of what they are of the agreement that they have had with us for more than a decade. So literally, we shouldn't be encouraging them to continue to be bad actors. I say that at the same time that and I've said this before in other meetings, I am not wedded to what this board did 15 years ago. I don't care. about the precedent, that just like this neighborhood has changed, this board has changed. So I do think we should not let that hold us back. I agree with you that this is the time to take a bold action, make a real statement. And I would encourage the board to make a very limited statement so that the Liquor Commission actually listens to it. If you write a very convoluted resolution and you're all over the place, good luck. They're not going to listen to anything you have to say anyway. So I would stick to 1 or 2 points and leave it at that. And that's my comment.
Thank you.
I also have comment, I'm also a little bit reserved on approving those changes because it sounds like the issues has been going on for a decade. That means whatever the operator is doing is not effective. I will encourage the operator to really think about how to improve your current operation before asking for extension of the hours or additional, accommodation from the community.
Thank you. Perfect. Yeah.
I think one thing I'd say, and I lived on 22nd Street for 6 years, I dealt with spillover, I get it, it is a huge pain, honestly, less than the noise in the establishment, but more than even the street afterwards. I think 4 a.m. on the weekdays is a huge ask and extremely different than any other club in that area. Weekends, I get that at least puts it on equal footing with the other businesses, but I think 4 a.m. and quite frankly, even 2:30 a.m. where it is right now on the weekdays is too late. So I wonder if there's a way we could find a sort of a compromise where maybe we tighten up the hours on the weekdays and maybe on the weekends, we allow 4 a.m. and possibly 11 for certain special events. I get a bar mitzvah, I get something like that, but I think the boozy brunch concern is very valid, and I don't know that we want to approve like 11 open for the weekend.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any other comments? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna focus on sound first. The applicant said that they made an investment in sound, but from what we've heard from neighbors, and the applicant should consider that, in a 500-foot world, that's your first community. So that I'm hearing sound issues from people who live behind the building. I'm hearing sound issues from people who live next door. I appreciate my colleague trying to tell them how to fix it, but they need to invest in sound. They need to invest in mitigating sound issues inside the establishment. That might be a way to remedy the concerns with earlier opening hours. And then until they do that, they should limit the kind of sound that's, if there's 16 speakers, maybe there only needs to be 8 or 7. Or so. I'm not trying to figure it out. I'm trying to say to you that a lot of establishments make significant investments when they want to make this kind of pivot to address ongoing issues and to let the neighbors know that you're at least trying. In terms of sound, the other part of it is, the later we go into the night, I've said this before, the later you go into the night, the quieter the street is, the more pronounced the sound travels. But it sounds like this is the crowd that's on the street. And in the weekdays, I can't see 4 a.m. during the week. I'm hesitant around 4 a.m. and I don't want this applicant to have us resolve anything that is already in violation. In a soft way, they're kind of asking us to sign off on some things that they have to resolve. And if they think that this block association is not going to follow them to the SLA and disrupt their application, they have, so why not really try to get a hold of yourselves in this moment to sort of to acknowledge some issues that you have not addressed.
Thank you. Perfect. I'll go to Melissa next. Having your hand up.
Yeah, just to run through the kind of 3 issues we're talking about. One, on the extension of hours, I'm in agreement with the other folks who think that this is, I think, quite a large ask. I think my understanding is that we rarely grant 4 a.m. I don't know if that's restricted to where we have those restricted zoning areas, but I think this is a large ask, particularly given the community input on this. So I would not be supportive to extending that. My only comment there is, and maybe this is like a comment / question, whether or how we think about acknowledging the affidavit given this context in writing a reso or however we write this. Just to acknowledge like the wrinkle point there. And then for the other two pieces, I think it's problematic that there's clear like operation outside the scope of the existing agreement in regards to the DJs and the live music. I think we can't. I don't think that we can approve that in good faith. And for the earlier open hours on the weekends, that would maybe be the only area where I think we could have discussion, or I would be supportive around discussion to potentially budge on that. But again, based on the community input and concerns around boozy brunch and all of the other concerns we've heard, I think I'm just not in support of kind of approving any of these extensions.
So thank you, Melissa. That's really helpful.
Chairman,
So let me take a couple more comments and then I'm going to start just polling on the three different items. Yes.
I guess I'm just trying to figure out for the issue where they've been operating outside of the scope.
Yeah.
What do we want to do? Like, we could go the route they want to go, which is say, okay, we'll change your scope so that way you're no longer operating outside of the scope. Or would we like ask the SLA to look into it? Like, what are our options? Or we could just do nothing and they continue to flout the.
I think my opinion is.
As of now, so as of now, what we would do is, I think the best course would be to, take a stand on this application as we have it now, and then encourage, if there's violation, then we continue to sort of raise that with the SLA to try to resolve it. But that's sort of done through the office, essentially. Okay, any other comments? And then I'll poll on the three key issues. No. Okay, perfect. So first, let's do a show of hands. If you would be open to extending the hours, including with any stipulations, that we add to it, from 2:30 to 4 a.m. during the weekday. Okay, so nobody's in favor of that. Then let's go to the weekend. So 3:30 to 4 a.m. on the weekends.
Friday, Saturday?
This would actually be, it's kind of weird. So in the old one, it's, let's go with Thursday through Saturday. That's our standard.
So Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night till 4 a.m.?
Exactly, yeah.
Can I ask?
From the existing
Do
3:30.
we know how many other clubs are open till 4
That's a
a.m.
very good question. I actually have.
on the weekend?
List pulled up. So it looks like Boxers is open till 4 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. Slate is open till 4 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. So again, not Thursday. That Dew is open until 4 a.m. on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So
Which one?
Dew, DOUX. And then Wonderland's Gentleman Club is open till 4 a.m. every night.
How do you know?
Thank you. So that's perfect. So I think one issue I would highlight for everyone is that this is one of these grandfathered in institutions, the ones that you mentioned are. So even though this is in our restricted licensing area, we've allowed these to operate with later hours. Some of those establishments actually have much worse records. Phil and Frank have, or I guess I should say Phil is a lot more engaged, I should say, than some other owners. So it would, the one problem with limiting this to 3:30, whereas others get a 4, is that Phil has been a relatively good operator relative to some of these others. So I did want to highlight that. And one sec. So I think we should consider that in this, but nonetheless, we don't have to take that into account. So please raise your hand if you have a comment.
When you say relatively good operator, you mean in his cooperation with the board?
Yeah, and he's established a group of different bar owners, and they've resolved issues proactively, and some of the other establishment owners have not. So it is something to consider.
But they're clearly not compliant with what we told them to do in 2011. So, and like, we go back, this has been sort of a theme since I've been on the board here, is like, we have these precedents, but like, we live in a different world, and this block is a different block of residential community. Again, this is the kind of important thing that we're here for. We do a lot of other stuff that has less importance. This is the reason why we're here. So I again want to deny all three of these things, and then I want to go and say they've also been in violation of the prior agreement we've had with them, and we think that hours should be restricted until they comply with at least what they did in 2011. That would be that's what I would be willing to vote for.
So with that, yeah, let me take it back. Let me take it back to that question then. So just quick show of hands, who would be in favor of, even if you add restrictions, soundproofing, things like that, extending potentially from 3:30 to 4 AM?
For the weekends
On the
only?
weekends, only,
Friday, Saturday.
let's say Thursday through Saturday first.
Can I ask my
Raise your
members why?
Why
would you vote for this?
If somebody wants to, yeah.
Do it.
Mhm.
I mean, I would vote for it because I do think one thing we've talked about in this board often is like the damage of open storefronts and things like that. I don't think it's fair for them to be hampered versus other businesses, but what I would propose to, on the flip side, and also an acknowledgement that they have not been in line with their agreement, is that we limit the weekday hours even further. So we take them earlier than where they've been, and we say, okay, other clubs are open till 4 AM. We don't want you to be hampered by the fact that we're gonna, not allow you to compete with them, but you're open even at 2:30, much later than most of the other clubs on the weekdays, and we take that down. And that would sort of be what I would.
Interesting. Wait, one sec. Thank you for that, the proposal. So that's an interesting one. So like trading potentially early hours during the week for a weekend later, just until 4 AM. So do you have a proposal for like what time, or do you just want to like?
It's open till 12, I think,
12, right.
I think no later than 2, and again, this is coming from someone, I have been woken up, to me, I do know it is a sound problem spilling into the streets, I have been woken up on a Wednesday by people with these, so it's like, that's at the latest 2, not 2:30, but I think we could look at the other clubs in the area, and if they're all till 1, maybe we say, okay, you get to be 4 AM on the weekends like the other clubs, but then you also have to be 1 AM Sunday through Tuesday or something.
Yeah, let's say, sorry, good, no cross talking. Everybody has to raise their hand first, just to keep like order. Yeah, go ahead.
So let's get the temperature read on this. You're saying like, till 2 AM on a weekend,
A weekday.
on the weekday, until 3:30 on the weekend, which is what? Thursday, Friday, Saturday is the weekend?
Exactly.
Thursday is the weekend?
Yeah, we usually do it that way. We can modify it, but it's usually Thursday through
I
Saturday.
think 4 AM on the weekend. So
4
let
AM on
them
the
come
weekend.
to standard with the other clubs on the weekends, but
So-
limit them on the.
Let's do that. Quick poll. So you said 2 AM during the week?
2 AM during the week, I would be in
Yeah.
favor of 2 AM during the week, 4 AM on the weekends.
Gotcha. Okay, so raise your hand if you would support that. Like that's that trade. Looks like we actually have a substantial number for that.
And can I throw out one?
Beth,
Yes.
can you repeat what's on offer here? I couldn't hear it.
Yes, sorry, Todd. So what it is essentially during the weekdays, and this we're counting as Sunday through Wednesday, we would restrict the close time and make it earlier than what's currently with the SLA. So that's 2 AM. And the weekends, which would be Thursday through Saturday, would be extending till 4 AM. So basically a trade of the hours.
They're not even open though.
That's right.
But isn't the proposal-
Sorry, everybody, no
What are we
crosstalk.
giving?
Guys,
Giving-
nope, David, no crosstalk.
Sorry.
We just have to keep order
Sure.
for a discussion, yeah.
I feel like this is like a weirdly asymmetric situation where they're getting a bit on the weekends and we're not getting that much for the weekday thing. Like,
Sure.
if you think about it from their perspective, like 3:30 to 4 on the weekend might not move the needle for most people going to clubs, but on a weekday, like you might have rattier people going there for that, which is why I'm not supportive of that. I think as we think about hours, and I know this is like a little bit like off topic, if there were momentum to support shortening weekday hours, I could be supportive of that.
Gotcha. So how about, so you're saying maybe an earlier even weekday time? But let's do one more show of hands, like 1 AM during the week. 1 AM, okay.
Yeah.
All right, interesting. So maybe that's an interesting trade on hours. So we have that.
Oh, no. I'm not trading. I'm just saying 1 AM. I'm not trading for 4 AM.
1 AM. Okay, gotcha. So you're not, okay, so raise your hand if you'd be supportive of trading that. So like the 1 AM close time during the week.
Also throw something else in.
Okay.
On a Sunday,
Yeah.
to let them open at 11 for like a Sunday brunch. Because people like to.
Well, let's do that separately. That's a good, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
But
because if we're gonna go till 1 o'clock.
we'll do that as a separate issue. I just want to resolve the night time, because I think people will think of it differently. So raise your hand if you would support the 1 AM during the week and 4 AM Thursday through Saturday. Raise your hand, please.
Oh, yeah, more people.
It looks like we have a majority. Okay. So I think we have a majority there. Okay, so let's go next to the earlier hours. So Your
I
proposal?
think that Sunday they should be able to open, just like there's a lot of places, like a Bagatelle type of a setup where people used to love going there on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay, we're a little hungover. We need that morning beer, okay? And every neighborhood needs a place to do it. Why not make this one of those places?
So how about, I'll take a couple comments on that and then we can. Yeah.
Question, so I still think that this club has a sound issue. And so I can't really say that 11 a.m. brunch is gonna be, because the sound issues that I'm hearing are not, it's the crowd in the middle of the night, but I'm hearing back alley noise, I'm hearing sidewall noise. And so the club has to have some plan in place, because they'll have 16 speakers going at 11 o'clock on a Sunday morning.
I'll take the, yeah.
It's a good point that you bring up. That's why I said this is all contingent on the installation.
Yeah, I agree. And actually, another thing we could do to potentially address it is restricting music playing in those hours. Like they just couldn't, like that might be one thing we
I would,
stipulate.
right, I would agree with that. That's
Right,
fine.
we could potentially like it. So let's do that. Let's say, who would agree to 11 a.m. open time on Sunday if you can't play music before the normal open time at 4 p.m.? So this is very in the weeds. Raise your hand. If you can't play music before 4 p.m., just to address that issue.
Just say something.
And no,
Like when you go.
no, sorry, no, like loud music. Like, yeah,
When you go to a
go ahead.
brunch place on a Sunday,
ambient,
let's say
background
you
is
don't open
allowed.
at 11.
Yeah,
The music is not blasted
right,
at top, it just gradually through the dinner or the breakfast or the brunch gets a little bit louder.
we would just stipulate that. It would just be like background, and we just,
It's just
yeah.
background, and then, but maybe by 2 o'clock, it's a little bit, by 12 o'clock, it's a little bit louder, not one notch, then by 1 o'clock, it's a little bit louder, but don't keep it like at full blast.
Yeah,
Right?
okay.
It's a Sunday,
So let me just take a poll of hands, like 11 a.m. Sunday with those stipulations. Who would support that? 11 a.m. Seems like 11 a.m. brunch open.
The music
time.
is
And
not.
Music
full
is
blast.
20th Street.
It's a very,
music.
it's a toler.
Do we? Sorry, poll of
This is the
hands.
Bushwick.
Show of hands for that. Who would support? So 11 a.m. on Sunday open time, down from 4 p.m. It's currently 4 p.m. Raise your hands.
With ambient music.
Ambient music.
Ambient music.
Raise your hand if you'd support it. So it doesn't seem like we have majority there.
Mr. Chairman,
So-
can I ask a question?
Yes.
It says that they're a restaurant lounge and all I've heard them classified as is a club. Do they actually have a capacity to serve lunch, brunch?
I think so. Yeah, they do have a full kitchen.
Kitchen in the basement.
Let's see the brunch menu.
No,
It is on- it is
I'm
actually on
asking a
the-
legitimate question, but.
No, yeah.
Club.
Yeah, that's a fair question. They do have a
I
full-
know it says that here, but this is also, so they can do that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, one second. Okay, so, David, yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, guys, Bagatelle was in the meatpacking district back when there was nothing in the meatpacking district, and that's largely a residential space, right? We have a nightlife district, I guess, what is it, in Midtown West now, that is really focused on sort of the late night Midtown nightlife. 20th Street is not a place for nightlife. And I guess Limelight was back in the day, 30, 40 years ago, sure. But to have booming nightclubs at noon when people are walking, I mean, I live a few blocks away from here. I've seen what this looks like, this block looks like at night. And I go there on the weekend, go walk around at 2 o'clock in the morning. And it's not the place for a nightlife district.
Well, David, I agree with you.
Sorry, no responding. It has to be sort of like, everybody raise their hand, yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Gene.
I agree with you, and it should be just ambient music. There shouldn't be full blast music on a Sunday morning. That's crazy, right? But
yeah,
if it starts out as ambient music, let people enjoy their Sunday brunch. And I just going into this meeting when I walked in and listening to all the residents, the stigma of the Palladium, okay, seems to resonate here. And that I'm telling you that's not what this was like. Okay.
So I'll do, yes, yeah.
To Gene's point, this is an operator that has not done what they said they were gonna do. I listened to all of those community people clearly articulate what their problem with it was. I have no confidence that if you said ambient music that they would interpret that in any way that would be slightly acceptable to any of the neighbors. I strongly urge you all to say no, strongly.
So it did sound like the last poll, the last show of hands we did. I do want to do one more because we've had a bunch of discussion. So one more poll on this. Who would find acceptable 11 a.m. open time Sunday with background music only?
Ambient
Ambient music. Yeah. Raise your hand, please. It sounds like that is not supported. So we do have just the trade for the hours. It sounds like we're saying no to the earlier open time. The final item is the allowing DJ and live music. When I do a poll here, you can assume that we will add things like soundproofing. We'll add, per Gail's question, potentially limiting the use of DJ to later hours, maybe limiting to a certain number of events. So raise your hand if you'd be supportive if you had all the stipulations you could add to it.
I didn't understand.
So basically, like if you could add all these stipulations like soundproofing and all of these other things, like the limitations, if you would potentially be supportive of a DJ if all of your stipulations were added,
Yeah.
you know, to limit the nature of it. Potentially. Okay.
Wait, how
Yeah.
would we enforce,
Well-
how would we know that they're doing that?
You won't.
We'll talk about.
They're already doing it.
So
They're,
that's
they're
what,
not,
They would need to demonstrate that they insulated.
yeah, I
They would need to demonstrate they insulated the back. They would need to, they have this enclosure in the front.
so, but
Obviously, it's visible.
it does sound like people would be somewhat supportive. So what would we need to have in the stipulation to agree with it?
Move the
Yeah.
Bushwick.
Sorry.
I think,
Yeah, go ahead.
I've
Go ahead.
agreed with a lot of the comments Catherine and Gail made. I think the issue really is that there's a precedent that the neighborhood has a huge issue with the way they've been operating. So I do think we need to push back, especially on the hours. And when they're able over like a course of a period of time to remedy the relationship, then that when they have to come back, then things can change. But as of right now, the only thing I think we should give is the DJ to certain events throughout the year.
Mhm.
But with the hours, I think that's a huge issue, because I support the business. I want them to thrive, but I think until they're able to show good faith to the neighborhood, that things need to change.
So
with how
does,
they're operating.
gotcha. So it does sound like you would be supportive of a DJ,
Mhm.
only if like it's restricted to certain number.
Yeah, a certain number of events, yeah.
So then we get into, who else is supportive of, everybody, it sounded like we had a majority in support of it with some stipulation. So what I'm thinking is we'll have something on soundproofing to correct the issue with the party wall. And then we will have a limit to the number of events. Gene originally proposed 3 per week. That sounds
A lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so who has another proposal? Yeah,
1 a month, 2 in December.
1 a month in December. Who would agree with that?
Second with that.
Second. Sounds like that sounds good. So 1 a month, 2 in December. Let me just write this down so I can get it all.
No, that would send them into bankruptcy.
that seems too
serious.
Well, they don't have it
Restrictive.
now, so
Too restrictive potentially.
It's whether it's a live DJ or.
Who would be in favor of more? I want to keep us.
it's a very
keep us-
different situation.
Who would want more than that? More than one more? More. So it seems like we're not a majority in favor of more. Yes,
I
Samir.
have a question.
Yeah.
So presumably this would be structured as a deny unless.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Do we have any sense of if they would even go with this? Like, or are we just
That's a fair
debating
question.
all these
Yeah.
hypotheticals?
They're here, I could ask them.
No.
No,
we're
it's
gonna
LA.
do this anyways.
Oh, the SLA.
I think, yeah, go ahead, Kevin. I don't know, yes.
This is a moment for them to consider what we're saying
Yeah.
before they go before the SLA. And so what we have to try to keep ourselves open to is trying to put something on the table that hears the community and balances some of their business. I think one of the things I just want to make a comment about that I think keeps getting me stuck is this is supposed to be a restaurant, a bar, and a lounge. And all I really see is a nightclub.
Yep.
But that's not what we're here to discuss. There are other parts to their application process that we don't even do enforcement. We do have a responsibility for the complaints that we get to bring that to the SLA. So that, for instance, whatever we're denying unless, we also attach the public, the comments that we've heard from community to help to see how we came to what we're coming. But this is an opportunity for the applicant to hear before, so, and this is business, so we're not trying to shut them out of business, but that's the dilemma that I keep coming across, because I don't even know what they serve for dinner or, but that's okay.
It is,
Like, you know,
yeah. All right, so, no, thank you. No, this is all really helpful input. I think we've sort of come along to a final-ish agreement. So I want to like read out what I've heard from everyone, and then if somebody wants to make a motion, you know, we can sort of go down that route, or we can change it further. But it seems like we're agreeing on a 1 a.m. close time Sunday through Wednesday, a 4 a.m. close time Thursday through Saturday, and there's like sort of a trade there. We're getting a much earlier close time and then a later close time on the weekends. But it is in alignment with how they've been operating.
4 a.m.
Something-
afterwards?
A 4 a.m. Thursday through Saturday. And that's an increase from the current 3:30. And then no to an earlier open time, so it just would remain the same 4 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. And then on the DJs, we would DJ and live music, we would say yes, but limit them to 1 event per month and 2 in December. Does anybody have any comments or changes they would request to make to that?
I think one is, just think about it, 1 a week is already like low.
Yeah.
Or 1 a month is like.
They have now.
They were saying 3 a week roughly.
I don't think it's over the course of the year. I think it's maybe like, because it's somewhat seasonal, you know, the city it's not like a time clock where everything's even.
No.
I think that that's why I suggested.
I think it's on an average.
Yeah.
In this
Even if we change it to 2 per week, there's 100 events for the year.
Mhm.
So something like that, you know.
Let's go
multiple
with-
number.
Thank you. We'll do 2 comments, yeah.
My hope is that like throughout this process, they change their method of operation from a club into truly a lounge and restaurant. And I think in line with like that aspiration for how they operate, that level of events should be sufficient.
Gotcha.
2?
I'll do Milan next.
Yeah.
2 per week?
One,
One
still
month.
the
One
one.
per month.
2 in December.
And Milan, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how realistic it is for the applicant to commit to like a really comprehensive sound mitigation strategy, like reducing sub bass. You know, I feel like David was saying, like having a bold move here makes sense. Like we should make them commit to like a very serious like infrastructure / musical selection change for them to put their best foot forward. Like I need to see something from them. I need like a blood oath, something like whatever we can do, whatever is legally allowable under the context of to show them, to have them show not just us, but the community that they are listening and that we're going to take drastic actions to, you know, ameliorate all of these things that have been happening for the last 10 years.
Thank you for the suggestion. So basically, in addition to the restrictions to 1 a month, 2 in December, we would also add our standard soundproofing, which would require them to sort of get testing.
Yes, certainly, but yeah, and we need them to listen to that, read that, understand it, and acknowledge it. You know, like we need to see something from them.
Gotcha.
I think
I'll take a couple more comments and then we'll try to get to a resolution because it's been a while. Todd, go ahead.
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so this is consistent with what I said when I had a chance to comment very earlier. I know that a lot of our newer members feel that times have changed, and they are exactly right. However, the one thing I would point out to them is that when you have a truly bad actor, and there's no way the current applicant is a bad actor, you can't imagine how difficult it is and how destructive to the neighborhood and how difficult our conversations are when we have those situations. If we take, I think what we've done here, and Seth is right, we're not making the situation any worse. We are giving them the later hours. We're not allowing them to have their boozy brunches or whatever any earlier. And we're trying to put reasonable limits, right? So we're rewarding at some level good behavior. And, you know, I think the resolution should have a strong statement that, and again, I wouldn't throw out the baby with the bathwater. The reason even now, that it doesn't make sense to go turn 180 degrees is because the SLA, this is just my own opinion, is essentially a conservative operation. And our credibility with them turns on us showing restraint. But if we put in our resolution a strong statement saying that we will not be a party to making the situation worse, and that, for those establishments that, try to stay in compliance and, not make the situation worse, that we're still letting them know that we want to see things change in the neighborhood. So I'm in agreement with what we've done.
Thank you. Trying to think. Does anybody want to make a motion on what we've set forward, or do we want to make any more changes? But raise your hand if you want to make more changes. Yeah, just David.
We should have David things. So I'm looking at their Instagram right now, and so I just forwarded it to everybody here, okay? So they're advertising 4 AM every night, or this Friday remix night is 4 AM. They have a DJ that's scheduled. They have another situation here, a pop-up where they have breakfast at noon starting. So they're already in wild violation of what they've agreed to in 2011, and they're advertising this. And so I just don't know why we're giving them more things. Like, we should deny the application and say they have to follow the rules, and you can come back to us if you follow the rules, and we can consider it then. Like, I just don't, this whole moving from 1 to 4 o'clock, it seems ridiculous to me.
That's actually a fair proposal. So the other alternative, we could have these changes that we're proposing, a trade in hours. The other option is to just is a flat deny. It's fairly rare, but what this would mean is that they would continue to operate with the current SLA agreement, which is like 2:30 during the week and 3:30 on the weekends. Yeah, go ahead.
Just a comment.
Yeah.
I do think that's worse, because to me, I don't think we want them open till 2:30 on the weekdays. So I
That's
do
fair.
feel like telling them to close at 1 AM on the weekdays, or if we wanted to look at some of the other bars and clubs and say even 12 AM certain weekdays is more of a punishment in my mind than letting them continue, but 2:30 on the weekdays.
Sorry,
That's late.
I'm sorry.
And also just another thing to his point, because we were looking too at their website, because now they're called Out of the Ordinary. They're advertising nightly events. They have a picture of a turntable on the website. They describe themselves as a club on there. So yes, cocktail lounge and nightclub in Flatiron is the description on the website. So I think my concern is, first of all, what is a nightly event? What counts as music or DJ for them? How do we limit that? Because I think that's the other risk in terms of giving them a number of DJ events, so just throwing that out there.
Gotcha. Samir.
Yeah, just, going into the meeting, I felt very differently than I feel now, just because it just doesn't feel like they've been honest with us, with what they're trying to do, and now seeing whatever this website is with their new branding. We're talking about boozy brunch, but if you look at their website, it clearly
Already
they
has
just
one.
want to go completely into private events. I don't think they would ever have a brunch, and we can't force them to. And so I would be in favor of either just doing a flat deny and saying that they need to shape up and follow the stipulations that they have already agreed to and are not following. Or maybe try to negotiate something so it's better on the weekdays, but my hunch would be to just go for the flat deny, because if they're not going with the rules that they have right now, why would they go with any future rules that we set?
But does that let them going right now till 2:30?
Everything. Yeah.
They'll continue to do.
Everybody, no cross. Sorry, guys. No crosstalk. Catherine. Yeah.
That's not the point. The point is that we comment on time, place, and manner of an applicant.
Yeah.
And this opens the opportunity to shine a light on what is and what is not happening that is beyond the realm of our focus. So if we're hearing the residents, we are gaining something by having them closed by 1 AM during the week. They're getting their 4 AM on the weekend, and there are some other forces that have to take place for compliance. We're not here to tell them anything beyond, we're not here to really comment on, right, you look at their social media and it's, like I said, the dilemma here is I'm commenting on a place that's a restaurant, a lounge and a bar. Whatever else they're doing, that's not, there are other ways to have that discussion. But what I'm saying here is that this organization has a liquor license that's up for renewal. They've been in business a very long time and they're trying to stay alive. That has to balance with community needs, and we get to express to them that they need to address their sound issues, that they need to do more to keep the place quiet. This is the tool that we have and the mechanism that we have. To flat out deny is a kind of silence.
No,
on the issue.
sorry, one sec. So it sounds like, one sec, I think we can just do a poll of like who supports deny versus who wants to go with our new affidavit. Cause it sounds like we're divided on that. So who would just support a flat deny? Could you raise your hand?
Sorry.
We could do a deny with them looking at certain things.
We could add we could add some statements to it. So
Like not saying that we want to approve it with these terms, but deny and we believe the SLA should look into these things.
Yes.
we could all do
Yes.
that, yeah.
Can I just
So would we,
ask one question? What does a deny officially mean?
Deny
We
means-
have to write it there.
yeah, so deny means we recommend that the SLA denies the method of operation change. Which would just mean that it would revert back to the operation that they've been allowed to have. To your point, like violations could continue, but that's a matter not for us. We
We
can't really
normally
control that.
deny with,
What are they back for SLAs?
so like this is something I
What are they
learned
back?
last year, is we
When are they
normally
coming back for their SLA
deny
approval? What's the
unless
date?
you do X,
I'm
Y,
not
Z.
certain. I'm not certain.
Otherwise, SLA doesn't pay attention to what we're talking about.
Okay.
But this is different, though. We're trying to do deny. And SLA should look at these things.
Yeah.
If we just say approve, SLA does nothing.
There is a
Yeah.
third option.
But when you,
So everybody, just one at a time, Yeah.
There
go
is a
ahead.
third option.
Yeah.
Philip, Frank, you guys are listening to all this. You're getting a temperature read on this board. We could table this for another month and you can come back to us and say, you know what? This is what we're gonna do to
I like that.
everybody's, to fix everybody's concern. And you come up with a plan for installation,
What's the time?
decibel levels. How are you gonna do it? Where are you gonna do it? Give us a firm game plan as to, is it a club? Is it a lounge? What is it?
I think we should make a decision tonight. I see what you mean, but I think we have to decide one way or another tonight. It has been a while. So let's go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
If we do an outright denial, as you said, Gail, effectively it'll go back to the status quo of 2:30 and 3:30, so I'm in favor of.
I think it's better
Yeah.
to kind of limit the
Doing
weekdays.
Yes.
Because to me, that is really a
Let them give us
punishment.
something.
Do we have the time to table? I don't think so, because we have a
Sorry, we one at a time. So let's have
Limited.
Josh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you. Can we?
This
I feel like we should.
application,
Right?
it's your guys' call, but this application has been rescheduled twice now.
Yeah. Let's go. I think we should make a decision tonight. So, I actually want to do a count of this. Who would support deny instead of the affidavit approach? Raise your hand. So we have one.
well, you said,
3.
can you clarify?
Yeah, so like we have two choices. Choice one is the stipulations that we agreed to. So that time switch, the 1 a.m. close time during the week, 4 a.m. at night, or sorry, during the weekends. We have the DJ with limitations and no to earlier open times. That's option one. Option two is just deny, which would revert to the current method of operation. Yeah.
Well,
So who supports option one?
Wait, option one is,
Option one is option one is the affidavit that we designed with all those stipulations. Option one is the new affidavit. Yeah.
That open till 1, open till
Yeah,
4,
exactly.
insulated and everything else.
Okay, it seems like we support that.
supporting. it
Todd
as well.
supports it, yeah. Okay, so it seems like that's what the majority is. I want to get a read on the denies. Who would deny it instead?
I didn't deny
So we got 3 denies.
Melissa,
with, and saying
Melissa as well.
SLA should pull back weekday hours.
Gotcha. Okay, so it sounds like we are, does somebody want to make a motion? I think we are ready, because we have a majority. Yeah, go ahead.
Motion to prepare a stipulation where they can operate under these limited terms for 1 till 1 o'clock during the week. Till 4 o'clock during the weekends, okay? provided that they insulate the front and the back. And they give us, a plan for crowd control at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Do we have a second?
But you're addressing, what about the other 2 points?
Which ones?
So you have the,
That's just the first point.
Oh.
The second point being the no boozy brunches. And
Oh,
the
yeah,
third- And the third
We
point being.
didn't vote for the boozy brunches. Everybody said they don't want it to be.
Right.
open.
yeah, so it would just be
And
included.
hold on, and the DJ, I think it's okay, whether it's live or whether it's streaming music, it's really, we're concerned about the decibels.
I think what you're saying is like the limitation on the DJ, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, they proposed,
The one.
I'm not gonna vote for this, but you guys can go.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna vote for it.
so the limitations on the DJ, would you like add that to it essentially?
Say,
The 1 a month and
what a
two-
month,
And then-
let's do 2 a week. No,
Would you, I don't think it would get support, otherwise I would, but
2 a week,
yeah.
2 a month, guys?
Does somebody, yes, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah,
Can we do this as a deny unless, so then it does?
that is what it is,
Okay, I just wanted to
yeah.
make sure, it's not
Good
approved
question.
under the, it's to deny unless they hit these things.
Exactly.
So we'll
That's why
still
we do all
technically get
these
the
things.
attention of the
It's ridiculous.
SLA or?
Yeah, denying less is, yeah, that's a good question, that's our standard approach here, yeah. Samir, yeah.
Are there things we could add to get you on board?
Yeah, that's one
Or,
question.
or anyone else?
I don't wanna give them anything.
So if it was just an affidavit that said reduce it to on the weekdays, what is it right now?
2:30.
2:30.
They were saying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was if it was just reduce it to 1 AM. But
And
then
follow what you
and
did,
then
what you
not,
said in two thousand
not
eleven.
change the weekends.
Yeah.
Leave them as is, then
Yeah.
you would be in favor of that?
Yes, I can be in favor.
I would be in favor of
Say
that.
it again?
Yeah,
Just strictly making them have less hours.
I don't know why we're giving them more hours.
No, I just wanna make sure I understand.
Yeah, no, so if you said to me, we're gonna keep the 3:30 that they
Yes.
agreed to in 2011, and they reduced the weekdays to 1 AM, I would agree to that.
I'd be fine with that.
Okay, yeah, do you wanna?
And Mr. Chairman, could I just say,
Yeah, go ahead.
in support of that, we should not be in the business of rewarding bad behavior. I heard Todd say very clearly, and I heard you imply that, maybe I misheard it, that this operator is a good operator. I don't know him well enough to really pass judgment. But I'd be very curious to know what the residents characterize this operator as. If these people actually signed this agreement in 2011, they're not in compliance with the agreement, period, end of story, full stop. What, you don't reward bad behavior, period.
Thank you, so I think we are ready for a motion based on that, do you wanna,
So what's
Make a motion.
what's the DJ live music situation?
do you wanna make the,
I would propose that we deny, I guess, well, if it's deny unless, except like, can you make it worse than it's just a deny, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a deny.
no, it's a deny unless.
But what,
No, but we're giving them, you said you want to. give
Deny
them the
unless,
DJ.
you
yeah,
would be okay with that?
I'm not happy about it,
Okay, so
but like,
I would say that we deny unless, so deny the method of operation change.
uh,
So we would allow them to have the DJ or live music, but they have to change their hours on the weekdays to 1 AM.
I don't know if I agree with that, because they're already doing DJs and live music.
So I guess like what,
This is,
So
But that's
I'm a
two
deny, I'm a
But that's
deny.
two
Okay,
You guys
so I think we
go
do-
Something else, I'm a
That's
deny.
separate issues.
so,
What it is that we are hearing an applicant that is a neighbor. And we have the opportunity to state what we're saying, but their non-compliance does not drive our decision-making per se.
Why?
why?
Because we're not,
Sorry, everybody-
because enforcement is another part of this. If they're not, so we can write a new agreement, a stipulation agreement, and going forward, if they're not in compliance, they risk losing their license.
so
That's
let's,
what's on the table.
But we're addressing that.
let's, sorry, guys, no
But-
crosstalk,
But
because
you-
it makes it very inefficient.
To you is that the process here is to put something on the table again, so it's clearly understood, they agreed to it, and to move forward. We've come through a pandemic, we've come through
Right.
many different forces that have allowed
Yeah.
businesses, and the fabric of the neighborhood has changed. So this is a way to open up the lens by which we are seeing this application. We're not, this is just one part, like I said, they're a bar, a restaurant, and a lounge, and I don't know what's on their menu. But that's not my concern, because we're here to consider time, place, and manner of this location in the context of their neighbors, and we need to we get to respond so that there is some input. Without any input to SLA, they may walk away with something more that it allows it to be weighted, is my point. And it is not our place to, yes, it is our place to hear the complaints, to attach all of that, to say, do you realize they've been non-compliant, and let SLA make decision. They're the decision-making body.
Yeah, thank you.
I make a motion.
I wanna, one sec, so everybody, just for future, please address all your, what's up?
Sorry.
No, please address all your comments to me. It helps us keep conversations fluid. I don't want, the crosstalk is very inefficient, so it's not helpful. So I think we're ready for a motion. Do you wanna make a motion?
I would love to make a motion.
I was making a motion.
Actually, let's have, I do wanna have actually this person who, he's the owner of the application, Gene,
Okay.
so I
I
want to
was making a
have you-
motion, but I'll modify the motion.
Yeah.
So the motion is gonna be to deny unless, okay? Unless they operate under the following terms. Right? Weekday operation ends at 1 AM. On the weekends, 4 AM. Okay? They have to insulate the front and the back. They have to give us a plan for crowd control when everybody exits. And I would suggest there's a mezzanine to let that mezzanine exit first, even on the weekends at 2 AM, and then at 4 AM later on. And as far as the live music, twice a month? Is that what we're all agreeing on? Twice a
We
month.
can vote on that. We'll
Okay,
see
twice a
that,
month on the live music. Otherwise, it's streaming music. Okay, so
Mhm.
twice a month means 24 times a year.
Mhm.
Which means that it could be 24 days in December.
Mhm.
But it's 0 for the rest of the year.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So we have a motion. Any seconds?
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, so we said.
We think that is actually a punishment.
Yeah. Okay. We can take it to a vote.
Oh,
when
right,
we have a
sorry,
chance.
question.
Oh, yes. one.
Is this going to be the final resolution that we talk about at full board, or if this resolution fails, we just present a failed resolution at full board?
If it fails, we'll we'll have to do another resolution to get one. That
I have
we
one.
Pass. You got one in the wings.
I got one ready to go.
Okay, so, please.
Okay,
please.
Seth,
Yes.
okay. Jean,
Yes.
Catherine,
Yes.
Gail. Lev,
I think you love.
oh, okay. Samir.
No.
Okay. No. Milan,
You can pass.
I can come back to you. Yeah.
yep, okay. Andrea,
No.
oh, how come it's, oh. Gabby. Okay. David Shapiro,
No.
Todd.
Yes.
Okay. Melissa,
No.
Kevin,
No.
okay, me, yes. Zona,
No.
okay, motion fails. Oh, it's back?
Milan?
Ask for a pass.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yes, back to us. Okay,
No.
all right.
Okay,
Okay,
motion
back
failed.
to
And
the
then-
drawing board.
Hold on, and where's Lev? Did he leave?
Yeah. So, other motions.
I have a motion.
Yes.
I would like to do a motion to deny the application. And ask the SLA to look at the 2011 agreement and to hold them to that. And to also consider changing weekday hours to something that's more accommodating or approachable to the block and to the residential nature of the block. Period.
Got a motion.
I'd like to second it.
Yeah.
But I'd like to ask, can we say, rather than the word accommodating, consistent with?
Yes. I'm good
Okay,
with
thank you.
Gotcha. Okay.
Second the motion.
Thank you. So we can take that other one to a vote.
Wait, can you restate that, David? I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
we're just.
That's
going
okay.
back to
No, yeah, that's-
2011.
To deny
Uh-huh.
and we believe that SLA should hold the applicant to the 2011 agreement.
Mhm.
And we would like we would want the weekday hours to be consistent with the block in a residential community.
And let SLA determine that?
And what do we think it is? Is it 12?
Could we say consistent with other operations?
Other operations, yes.
Yes, consistent and 12 o'clock consistent with the other operators on the block.
But some of them are open till 2 or 4.
We can, this is actually flexible, so we can say, if you say consistent with other operators on the block, we have flexibility to, sort of.
Whatever you
define
guys
that.
agree on, I just want to pull it back.
We can just,
I
yeah,
think 2:30 is too late in the weekdays.
we can just use that language in the affidavit. And we have a second, so I think we can take it to a vote. Do you have
Okay.
is there a question related to the?
I
Yeah,
did wanna ask if it would be okay, because just hearing all of the community feedback about the noise, can we really underscore that as well?
Yeah, I would, I think we should.
Like we need some
Due
serious.
to the community complaints about the noise, we believe that they need to change hours on the weekdays to XYZ.
Yeah, however
Right.
we wanna phrase it, but I think we need to put the
I
noise.
think
It's
that, I
got
think
no,
that's what it
no
is.
crosstalk, sorry. Okay, let's take it to a vote.
Okay.
Todd has his hand up. Yes.
Todd? Todd, did you have a comment on the resolution?
What are we voting on now? Is this David's resolution?
It's a,
Yes, David, if you could stay one more time.
My comment was on the resolution that failed, so there's no point in making it now.
Oh, okay.
Todd, you there?
I'm here.
Okay, so the resolution is to deny the application and due to complaints from the community, to have them look at the enforcement of the 2011 agreement and to review the weekday hours to be consistent with the operation on the block in a residential community due to the complaints.
Got it. Are we voting on
We
that
do-
now? Did we?
Yeah.
We are, got a second and everything,
Yeah.
yep. All right,
Okay, Seth,
yes.
Jean,
not vote, no.
okay. Catherine,
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Samir,
Yes.
Milan,
Yes.
Yes.
Andrea, Gabby,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
okay. Melissa,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes,
me, yes. Zona,
Yes.
okay, motion passes.
All right, thank you very much all. So Frank and Phil, we know this is not the outcome that you wanted, but we'll be in touch. We do hope, to work with you to improve relations with the community, and we can, hopefully have a productive working relationship from here. With that, we'll move on to the next item, which I will take my chair's privilege to actually skip because we don't need to cover it this week. I will send an email about it. But basically what we're gonna do is we have a tracker now that you all have public access to, and it'll detail each of the steps we go through with due diligence, so that you can stay on top of it and sort of know what's next without, needing to reach out to us. So that's it. With that, we can adjourn the meeting.
Thank
you all.
you.
Thank you.
so,
Yeah.
um,
Well, it's not the right way, we all voted.
Yeah.